there's a difference, you know, and I'm not explaining it right now. There's a difference between knowingly and unknowingly doing something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, there are times where people have taken inhalers, right? And that substance that's in the inhaler, they pop hot for it, right? You know, sometimes you just get caught up in, you know, just the everyday life, and you forget you can't do that, right?
Right.
There's times where you take a pre-workout, right? And it's over the counter from GNC. And man, you know, you bought stuff all the time at GNC, right? And it has 20, you know, different type of ingredients on it, right? But that one substance you kind of overlook, right? And you piss hot. You know, to me, that's understandable. You know, we're human, just like Sha'Carri. I mean, she's human, right? You know, she made a mistake, and we are not vilifying her and saying that she did something that is unforgiving, right? Welcome to the Track Fellas Podcast, a show about track and field everything. I am your host, 𝗱𝗵𝗏, along with Daryl Young and Jason Carson Harris.
What up, though?
Today, we have a great show today. We're actually going to be talking about one of the most talked about subjects and athletes of the past season and a half. And we're actually going to just dive right into it. Today, we're going to talk about a person who has been known for controversy, someone who has ran fast, who has a huge following, and is the new 100-meter women's world champion. And that is Miss Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah.
But before we actually get into the discussion, I am going to give you guys a kind of like a brief, maybe like bio of Sha'Carri for those who don't.
Where she came from.
Exactly. And excuse me while I use my computer real quick. But Miss Sha'Carri Richardson, she was born in March 25th, 2000 in Dallas, Texas. She went to high school in nearby Dallas Carter. She was a high school All-American with PRs of 11:12 and 23:02. She won the 100-meter dash in the 2016 and 17 AAU championships. She also won a gold medal as part of the 4x1 in the 2017 Pan Am Games. She attended LSU, where she became All-American and set the world under 20 world record with a time of 10:75. Immediately after the NCAA championships, she turned pro, signed with Nike, and her agent was University of Maryland's own Ronaldo 𝗵𝗵𝗆. For those who don't know him, please just Google, because that guy is legendary.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Hell of a bio so far.
Yeah. Now let's go to her controversy. On July 1st, it was reported that she tested positive for cannabis following her 100-meter final in the U.S. trials. And
2021, right?
yes, which invalidated her win, making her ineligible to compete in the Olympics. After successfully completing a counseling program, she accepted a 1-month period of ineligibility that began June 28th, 2021. Another thing about her is she was raised by a grandmother, and her mother had passed away. Her biological mother passed away, and her grandmother raised her since she was young. We're going to fast forward to the 2023 season. This is prior to her world championships. All right.
Okay.
The 2023 season, she ran sub 11 seconds 9 times. She ran sub 10.9 7 times. She lost only once during the season. She has 2 Diamond League wins. She won her first title in the 100-meter dash at the U.S. Championships in 2023, and she also took second in the 200. Again, I went over her bio because for those who don't really know her, they just know about the controversy and not the body of work she put in. But let's talk about let's talk about starting from her college days, and then let's just lead up to the U.S. championships and the ineligibility and that whole controversy.
Okay.
Sha'Carri, I think we all kind of agree that she, she's one of the best in the world. She's always been one of the best in the world. She's
100%.
always had skills. And I think with us being fans of, United States track and field, we want her on the team, right? Because we want the best to be assembled on the relays, and we want the gold medals and all that other good stuff. So at LSU, 1075 is unheard of as a prep. And to run that her freshman year was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And along with that, she showed some range with the 200, and she seemed like she was just getting better, and she was extremely dominant all throughout college. And even months after that, she still had her form. She still was winning races. She was still dropping sub 11 times and stuff. So the college Sha'Carri, she was very dominant, and she was somebody that had a extremely bright future, and we always rooting for her. We still are in a sense, but we'll get into what upset most of us during that whole time period. Was there anything in college that you guys kind of I don't know, something that just
Her college career, even though it was short,
very very short.
Yeah, it was short because she would turn pro after her freshman year, but took the track and field world by storm. Like you mentioned, like 1075 PR in college, pretty much unheard of, and like her dominance was crazy. And I vividly remember like her relay legs and whatnot. Like, just walking folks down like it's nothing. And like when she got the stick, it was, it's lights out. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's in front of her, hey, look out. Hey, Sha'Carri coming. You know what I'm saying? But she has, like, hell of a college career, even though it was short-lived.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, for the track fan who only watches track and field on Olympic years or when they're world championships like this current year, they wouldn't have necessarily known about Sha'Carri at that time. But just to kind of go back on the times that she ran, she was literally a pro athlete running pro times her freshman year in college. So that really shows you how dominant she was. Honestly, her last year in high school and her first year in college, she was kind of setting the forefront for what she was to become and what we now see of her, 4 years ago. Just to kind of say that, she's the real deal, and she has a lot more to come. She's a very, very young athlete at this point, and I think and we'll talk about it more, but she's kind of found her way and staying out of trouble. And with that, the sky's the limit.
Now, leading up to the U.S. championships, Sha'Carri, I'm sorry, what year was this? This was 2020, was it 21?
Mm-hmm.
She was heavily favored.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
To not just win it, but to also medal in the Olympics.
Yep.
So I think, again, us as fans and as people who analyze, where we are sports analysts, right, of this sport, we've watched her rise going into the Olympic trials.
Yep.
And during the trials, she didn't disappoint, and a lot of people talk about her celebrations and the moxie she has, right?
Right.
But I think in the sport of track and field, you have to have that as a sprinter. Mo Green had
I'm about to say Mo Green.
Yes. Usain Bolt, all these guys as 100 meter, it's almost like a cornerback in the NFL, right? They talk so much trash, right?
Exactly.
They're out there by themselves, and they deserve to do that, right?
Yep.
So 100 meter runners, man, they have that. You're supposed to have that showmanship, and that's one thing that we've lost in this sport is showmanship. And
Very much so.
people kind of take showmanship and take that for being conceited and unsportsmanlike,
cocky,
and cocky and everything, and you can be right. But Sha'Carri, she has been that her entire career, and when you run 1075 as a woman, you can do that, right? And when you win races, you can do that. And when you're one of the best in the world, you can do that. And and she was still kind of new to the sport, right? So she still had a lot to prove, but everything was just going up.
Yep.
Now, let's just get right into the controversy, right? So Sha'Carri Richardson, she gets a notification that she tested positive for weed, right? Or cannabis. From that point on, it was just all downhill.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
All downhill. And I'll speak. I'll let you guys speak in a second. But I felt like, and again, this is our opinion. We don't. This is just based off of what we believe in, right? But I also feel like she could have handled this 100% better,
Without question.
And because the way she handled it is the reason for the backlash. I think there was this thing about everybody against Sha'Carri, right? And that just was not.
That was not the case.
It wasn't the case at all. No. She made it that way for people to kind of jump on that bandwagon. And again, I understand she's young, right? She's dealing with fame and stuff, but unless she has people in her corner that is not supporting her and not somebody who is letting her know what's going on and stuff, that it was handled so bad. It was just it kind of took away from who she was on the track.
Exactly.
And that's an amazing athlete.
Yep.
Yeah, her not being able to compete in the Olympics after dominating pretty much in the trials was very disappointing. I felt like I don't know her from a hole in the wall, but I felt like a disappointed dad. You know what I mean? What I'm saying? Like, I wanted to see her compete, against the best in the world, and for her to, not be able to compete over something like weed, it's like, come on, like you. Not judging, not being judgmental at all, but if that's something that you want to partake in or you want to indulge in and whatnot, you gotta see the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? Like see what's at stake and put it to the side for a second.
And and to piggyback on that, and that's exactly how I felt. My thing is this. When you look at the drug policy for USATF, right, or even the USDA, or the overall body of the governing body for drugs, they give you a list of banned substances, right? Mm-hmm. And we was all former Division I college track athletes, right. So we understand 100%. What we were supposed to. What we couldn't take and what we could take.
Snack.
And and as a professional athlete, you sign this contract, right? And that contract tells you what you're supposed to be doing and what you can't do, yep. Right? Now there's a difference, and I'm not explaining it right now. There's a difference between knowingly and unknowingly doing something,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now there are times where people have taken inhalers, right? And that substance that's in the inhaler, they pop hot for it, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just get caught up in, just the everyday life, and you forget you can't do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's times where you take a pre-workout, right, and it's over the counter from GNC. Mm-hmm. And man, you bought stuff all the time at GNC, right? Mm-hmm. And it has 20 different type of ingredients on it, right? Mm-hmm. But that one substance you kind of overlook, right? And you piss hot. Yeah. To me, that's understandable. We're human, just like Sha'Carri. I mean, she's human, right? She made a mistake, and we are not vilifying her and saying that she did something that is unforgiving, right? But marijuana is not one of those things. Marijuana is something where you have to buy it, you have to roll it, you have to smoke it.
Yeah.
You
gotta light that thing up. You're knowingly doing.
There's no accident, right? To smoking marijuana. And there's even a clause in the policy stating that there is a waiver that they will give you. You just have to go through the proper steps, right? Mm. And I say all this to say, if you want to challenge any rule, you have to do it in a smart manner.
Absolutely.
Right? If you want to challenge smoking marijuana, you don't do it during the Olympic year. Right?
Of all times to do it, right?
Olympic year is every 4 years. Yep. Everybody doesn't have the opportunity.
Yep.
She could pull a hamstring, right? She could break something.
Mm-hmm.
She could just get slower. She'll never, you may never have the opportunity again, Right. And I mean, I would die to have an opportunity to go to the Olympics, right? So you don't do that. There was a million other ways to handle, grief in that sense, right? And smoking marijuana just showed immaturity, and it showed you really didn't care too much about your craft.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah. I will. I think it's definitely two parts of this. There's the as you said, there's the act of doing it. So she knowingly took a banned substance, and then there's the reaction from the penalty she received from taking a banned substance. And now, and we all know. I mean, at this point, we're in almost in 2024, and marijuana, cannabis has been decriminalized. A lot of people do it. A lot of people knowingly do it, and it's kind of accepted now as something that people can do. But as you said, she signed a contract, and she knowingly shouldn't have taken it, especially in a time when this is like and it may not be the height of her career, but at that time, we look at it as a time where she could take a huge advantage of it. She signed a multi-million-dollar contract with Nike, and there's things you can and cannot do. And then, but the reaction, I think, is the bigger thing. I mean, obviously, she did something wrong. She's human. She made a mistake. Accept the penalty for it. But what you do after that is really shows your character, shows who you are as a person. And that's what we all know of her prior to Worlds this year.
One thing you said that kind of stuck out is that a lot of people are doing it because it's decriminalized and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, take the decriminalized thing out of it. A lot of people are doing it. You know what I mean? Have been doing it. But a lot of people aren't also competing for a possible Olympic medal. Like, that part right there is beyond me. Like, if I'm, I've indulged, you know what I'm saying? I've indulged before, but if I know that Olympic medal, possibly medaling in the Olympics, and if that's going to jeopardize that, no, I'm putting that down. I don't know why that.
And I think the message, people had took this and ran with it, right? Mm-hmm. And they made it into an issue about marijuana.
Right.
It was never about marijuana.
Nope.
Right. It was never about nobody cares about marijuana, right? Do I agree that it's a banned substance? Absolutely not. I don't agree that, right? Mm-hmm. I think they should change it. Yep. But guess what? There is a proper step and a proper way to do that, right? I'm not going to do it when I have an opportunity of a lifetime, right? And at the end of the day, she didn't change anything, right? She lost. She lost out on the opportunity. No rule was changed. Yep. They didn't do anything special about that. Right. They said next, and they replaced you, right? Because you're replaceable.
Yep. Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it's like I always felt like there was one way to how to handle this, right? She could have went on social media and said, "Hey, I own up to it, right? Mm-hmm. I made a mistake. I'm going to take some time to work on myself and get back in the lab and get ready for next year's World Championships." Mm-hmm. And then you put a period at that and you stop, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't say anything else. Yep. You let everybody. It would have just blew in the wind, because if I pull up the list right now, there are so many athletes on that list, right? That kind of handled it in a way where it was kind of just brushed underneath the rug, and they spent their little 3-4 months, and it was back on the track, and you would never know it, right? And you can pull it up right now, USATF, right? Mm-hmm. But the way she handled it, it was just it made something that was bad worse, right?
Very much.
And
so.
And on top of that, she kind of gained a type of fame that was bigger than her track career, right? Mm-hmm. She did, she had a Nike contract, right? Mm-hmm. Nike backed her up 100% after this, right?
I thought Nike was going to snatch her shoes.
Well, see, at the end of the day, it comes down to money, right? Mm. So Sha'Carri started off with a couple 100,000 followers, right?
Yep.
If you look on Instagram right now, she's up to like almost 3 million followers, right? That's money.
Yep.
So that's 3 million people who are following her or who are looking at her.
Yep.
So Nike's not going to pull her because if 3 million people are looking at her and she has a Nike shirt on, right?
They gonna want to wear that.
That's my product, right?
That's money.
So she was invited to awards. People were wearing her uniform for Halloween. It started to get to a show where it was getting ridiculous and stuff. And I know we talked about it in the group chat all the time. We was kind of sick of it, And her reaction, it just got worse, right? And I'll never forget. She went overseas. She ran that 100-meter dash, right? And her Instagram post was. It was that Nicki Minaj song in the background where she was dressed. Sha'Carri was dressed like a regular girl, and then she snapped her fingers and she's in her running attire, and she's talking about how she's back and got smoked.
Yes,
cooked.
And and that was a result of her not being serious about her craft. Those women out there was not playing.
Yeah.
And she thinks she can just. Kind of do whatever she wanted, and she learned the hard way, and we was in the group chat again talking, and we almost thought that she would never come back because she was going so far down. I didn't think that she was mentally going to be able to.
It seemed like that was a short-lived career, and we would never see her again.
I didn't see 10.65. I didn't see that happen at all.
We about to get into that.
Yeah, and that's the thing about track. I mean, a lot of people will look at track and say these are people who are born ability to run fast. And for the most part, that's true. But to fine tune it and to get faster and to maintain the speed, it takes work. Yeah. And these athletes, unlike some other sports, they practice all year round.
Man, look, track is known by people who don't follow sport as a sport where people run and jump, right, and throw. But there's so much technical stuff that you have to actually do with the sport, and even when you talk about the 100-meter dash, I mean, you can go out there and actually run like 10.9 as a man, right? Like a fast, natural guy, right? Can run 10.9, right? But you're not running sub 10 seconds, being just a regular person with talent, right?
At all.
You got to work on your start, your drive phase, your knee raises and stuff. It's so much that you have to kind of like work on and stuff. And that's just one, event. We're not talking about everything else, the shot put and stuff like that, right? But it is a sport where it's most people just don't know how technical it is.
They're ignorant to it.
And also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, okay. But it's crazy you brought that up. I was dating a female. Chronologically, it doesn't matter. But anyway, so I was dating somebody, and she obviously knew I ran track and was decent at it and whatnot. And I was trying to break down the insides and outs of actually running, and she had no idea. Like you said about your start, drive phase, stride pattern, form, like arm drive. What I'm saying, like chin to pocket. She had no idea. And actually, I was like, hey, do me a favor, back up like 50 feet and just run towards me. And she looked terrible. Looked terrible. I'm like, oh God, if you're trying to figure out how to run, you need some work. You know what I'm saying? But to your point, a lot of people don't have an idea of the insides and outs of track and field, and what it takes to actually run and be good at it. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to me, but it's actually a thing.
And I don't want to make this a conversation about what it takes to be a track athlete, but to that point about Sha'Carri, in terms of her kind of falling off substantially after her debacle, the mental part of track is a huge part too. Yes. And when you're not there mentally, even before and at the start line, that can really affect you. So.
And I remember making posts about Sha'Carri, and I think some people took that as a negative thing, right? And again, just like I stated earlier, we are fans of track and field. Yeah. And with us being fans of track and field, and with us being here in the States, we are a fan of the United States track and field team, right? Sha'Carri running 10.7, I want her on the team. Right?
Without question.
Because naturally, we want to beat every country. Well, we all know what time it is in the sprint relays, right? We want to beat Jamaica, right? Yeah. And that Jamaican USA women's rivalry is amazing, right? So I want Sha'Carri on that team because I don't want Jamaica to bring home another gold. We're more dominant, right? So with that being said, I critique her heavily, because I do believe that she's better than that as a person. Yeah. And what we saw was, we saw a complete meltdown, and it was almost sad to see. She was crying on TV. She was refusing to do interviews. Yeah. She was walking out on interviews. She was going on social media. She was sticking her middle finger up, and she was, cussing F my haters and all that type of stuff. And this whole the world against me thing, she had ran with that, and she had half the world with her. Talking about the Black Girl Magic thing and stuff. Right. She was showing Black Girl Magic before all this. Yeah. Right. This isn't Black Girl Magic. Right. This is just somebody who needed help. And we wasn't in her camp. And I was hoping that somebody in her camp, was going to get to her. But again, we don't know if she wasn't listening to him. We don't know if she actually didn't have any support, Right. But with all that being said, it still was a complete meltdown. Now, when you fast forward everything, the 2023 season, it did seem like something clicked, right? It seemed like, somebody was by her side.
Somebody got in her ear. Yeah.
And, you kind of saw a little less on social media. Yep. You saw less of her kind of talking to people that has nothing to do with track and field. Right. And she was handling her business on the track, and I remember early in the season, she was consistently running under 10.9, right? Yep. And we're like, okay, but she had a win-aided time, and she was blowing out some women that we already knew she can beat and stuff. So we didn't know how it really was,
I think like after the flight issue, when she was on live on the plane
dealing with the
go ahead. The flight attendant that was in her live or something like that, telling her to put her phone away. I think after that, the light bulb came on. Somebody got in her ear and it's like, hey, you can't do that. Like, stop. You know who you are? You're Sha'Carri Richardson. Yeah. You can't do that. Like, stop it. So like it was like after that, it clicked. Somebody got in her ear, and whoever that person is, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Which camera are we on? Thank you. Okay? Like, somebody got in her ear, and it was reciprocated very well. And the rest is history. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when you're talking about history and you're looking at the World Championships, that was one of the most impressive, performances I've seen. And she went in there, even her prelim. And the funny thing is, I heard some people talking about she barely got into the final. No, she didn't. Right. She ran 10.8.
Exactly.
Yeah. She was in a heat that was faster than most finals. Yes. Right. Exactly. So no, she didn't barely. She just happened to be in one of these extreme fast heats. Yeah.
No.
And because of the rules, that's just how it happened.
And she had that lane 9, but but knew what to do.
Honestly, sorry. In the 100, does lane draw even matter for real? It's just a straightaway.
It does. It does.
You think so?
Right. Just like me and Adam talked about this, right? So men and women perform differently, right? In lanes and in races, period. Right. Especially for a man, it's important because when you're next to somebody, right? You may start, your start may be affected. Absolutely. Your drop phase may be affected. Absolutely. Because you have people next to you, right? Yep. And when you're not outside, you're kind of doing stuff on your own. And it's a little harder to kind of catch up to people or to kind of run your race because most people will not run their race. Yep. Right. Yep. What we saw from Sha'Carri ran her race. She didn't worry about anybody in the heat. She ran her race, and I think the outside probably was a good thing for her because she was able to kind of run what she wanted to run.
And two, we know that Sha'Carri, her strength is her finish. She's she's not great at starting. And as I think about the race and as you watch it and see how she won it, it was won in the last 30 meters. You know what I mean? So that probably was to her benefit. And not everyone could do that. As you said, every affects people's races. And so the average person definitely would fail in lane 8, lane 1, whatever the case may be. But she did her thing. She focused on that finish line and did what she's supposed to do.
Yeah, 10.65.
I didn't see that coming at all. Like, one, I thought to myself, like, all right, if I had made a prediction, maybe third. You know, maybe.
Right.
I think that's what I had her at.
Yeah,
I
like
had her
third.
yeah.
But did I see her dominating the race and running 10.65?
Not at all, man.
No, no. And to her credit, good job. Like, oh my God. Like I didn't see that coming at all.
I mean, she's the world champ.
Yeah.
So I mean, she kind of closed that chapter, right? She had a consistent year. She got her first title, the U.S. title.
Yep.
At a very young age.
She went to, and again, people aren't even talking about her 200.
Not at all.
Right? I mean, but she can run a good 200.
She can run a good two.
I mean, Gabby is better, right?
Yep.
But I mean, other than that, there's nobody in the U.S. right now that's messing with Sha'Carri. And I'm starting to fall in love with her form. I mean, she's.
I love her form.
She's an upright runner.
I love her form. Oh my
And
goodness.
she keeps her hands, she keeps her arms in, and she moves her arms. She has nice knee placement. I mean, it's just it's very, very good to see.
Like for
the
someone of her stature, like she's short.
I was gonna say, she's what? How tall is she?
She like 5'7" or something, right?
5'7".
No.
You talking about Gabby?
No.
You talking about
No, she's
Sha'Carri?
got to be like.
Sha'Carri.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I thought you were talking about Gabby.
No. Gabby's form, she could use some work, but that's another topic. She's still fast. It works for her.
Yeah.
But she carries her. For someone of her stature, she runs. I like to say she runs strong. You know what I mean? Like
She does.
Like she runs very
100%.
strong, and her turnover, her leg turnover,
Oh, it's
perfect.
phenomenal.
I love it.
Phenomenal.
I love it.
It is.
Like, yeah, I have nothing bad to say about her form at all.
That's that that technical part that we was talking about. Like you don't come out the womb running like that.
Not at all.
That's something that you have to perfect and worked on. And she's been in the lab. And again, I'm extremely happy that she was able to put everything together because next year is just going to be amazing because I think she's just going to get better.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
She's young.
She has a long way to go if she can just, keep everything together.
And what's considered like prime age, like 27, 28, something like that?
Well, how old is she now? Like 26?
If that, huh?
Maybe
She's not
like
old.
23, 24.
Hold on, we gotta pull
Yeah, you
that
gotta
up.
Google that.
She was born in 2000.
You said that earlier.
Yeah.
23, yeah. So young. Yeah,
She's
I would
still
say 25. I mean, and we seeing now these athletes. Shoot, Jamaican athletes are running into their mid 30s.
Yeah.
So
We got '𝗎𝗍 Jackson like still competing for a world record. And she's
Shelly,
what, 30?
Shelly is I want to say Shelly's like 34.
She's my age. I
And
think.
she's a mother.
Had kids.
Mommy Rocket.
Yep.
Women bounce back from these pregnancies. To me, that's an amazing feat right there. I don't understand how they even do that. But we'll never understand, you know.
Nah,
You just carry the whole body for 9 months and then you're back on the track.
You wasn't doing no training, nothing like that, right? And then all of a sudden, you back out there competing to be the world's best.
Exactly.
I do think she, I think with a little more work in the 200, she can shock some people in the 200. I mean, 𝗎𝗍 Jackson right now has it wrapped up.
Yeah, no question.
That's her race.
She runs a full race. And that's the one thing, again, I said it earlier, one thing about Sha'Carri is her, being able to run a full race. In a 200, you can't be back far for the first 50 of the 200 and expect to catch up to people who can run a full race. And so that's the one part of her race she needs to perfect, or I would say work on, to be able to compete with the top athletes.
I don't think there's no competing with 𝗎𝗍 Jackson, Joe. Like 21:41. Come on, 21:41.
I was running that on a regular after my hamstring. I couldn't run any faster than that. And she's running that as a woman.
Yes, at the age of I think 30. Like
Yeah.
crazy. Now, Olympic year obviously is next year. Do y'all think she's going? I'm getting off topic, but do y'all think she can possibly touch that 21:34? Or is that the world record? Is it 21:34?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Think she can do it?
I don't know. I mean, that's she tried her hardest
So hard.
to break it. Like the whole race, that last race she ran over the Diamond League, she was trying to break the record. And I think she gave it her all, everything. And she ran 21:41. I'm not sure if I don't know, because at some point age is going to have to slow something up, right?
Father time don't play.
So I mean,
He's undefeated.
I'm not saying that she can't, but I mean, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see about that, But back to Sha'Carri, as far as how she looked in the World Championships, do you guys see her kind of maintaining this 100-meter title for a long time, or is she like a one and done type person?
Some of that has nothing to do with her. There's other athletes out here who are going to, that dark horse always comes out. And sometimes we don't know who it is until it's time for them to shine. And that's the one part I would say. But if she can just maintain what she's got going on, injury-free, staying healthy, she has the ability to. If I would look at him, we talked before World Championships, and we thought she would come in third, and she shocked us. Maintaining this kind of speed, 10.6 is a big deal, and she probably has to do that to win in the Olympics. To be honest,
that's very fast. It's very fast. But to answer the question, as long as I'm looking at you, whoever that person is in her ear, stay in her ear, because it worked. It worked. As long as she has somebody like in her camp that has her best interests at heart, I think she could definitely shock some people and, if not medal in the Olympics, win that jump.
She's the world champion, so
Yeah.
I think she's expected to win that jump.
Yeah, that's it. That's how we feel about Noah.
Noah again, and we'll talk about him in a second. But Noah is a guy who he already put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's allowed to say and do whatever he wants until you beat him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a 3-time world champion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he just won the 100. People wasn't even thinking about him in a 100-meter dash.
No.
Right? As fast as he is, nobody was thinking about him.
At all.
It was putting cuz from South Africa.
Exactly.
In front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, Noah, he's a game time guy. He shows up. He took the 100-meter dash when Fred was supposed to repeat.
Didn't even make the finals.
And that's another subject too. But
Yeah,
Fred pissed down his leg. And,
I was so angry, man.
oh my goodness. I want to see him back in the 400, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
story.
Another topic. But we all hope to see Sha'Carri dominate for years to come. And that's really what track and field is about. When we look at in the past, we see athletes who have multiple Olympic medals. Every 4 years they come and they're showing up and they're winning the Diamond Leagues, they're winning the World Championships. We like, as Americans, we like to see dominance. We look at LeBron James; he can just play forever and still make the finals or whatever the case may be. So we want to see it. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? We're gonna find out.
I want to go ahead and say, yeah, I think so. I think she can be that. She can be that. You know what I'm saying? She can be that dominant person, like the Marion Jones, and Gail Devers and the MJs. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mo Green. She can be that. You know what I'm saying? Just as long as she stays consistent and disciplined, I think she can be that.
Yeah, I think she has everything that you as a coach, and I've coached high school before, and as a coach, she has every single thing that you want out of a runner. She has discipline, she has the natural ability, she has the background, and she has the will to win. Right? Obviously, she does. Yep. So, and she has the youth. And that's another important thing, because I think with all that combined, if she can stay healthy, she's gonna run this for the next couple of years, because the way that she's running right now, I think just she doesn't even know how to run 11 seconds anymore.
Right.
It's she's either going to go out there and run 10.8 or 10.91 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But she's looking up, and do we have any final thoughts about Sha'Carri?
Keep doing what you're doing, champ.
I feel the same way. Just like Daryl said, whoever's in her ear, stay there.
Yes.
Sha'Carri, if you ever see this, we love you. Keep doing your thing. Dominate the world. Keep the U.S. flag up.
Yeah.
And criticism is always going to be there. Don't take everything personal.
Right.
And if Sha'Carri could have kind of listened a little earlier, or maybe kind of calmed down a little earlier, whatever. You know, I think her bounce back would have been even faster. Right. You know, but you know, she's an example of when someone kind of takes care of themselves, works on their craft, and kind of blocks everything out.
Right.
You know, obviously the finish line is right there for her. You know, so that's you know, that's my final thoughts on her. But that is it for today. You know, because we have another little discussion to talk about.
Sounds good.
And everything. But anyways, we hope you guys dial back in on the Track Fellas podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have
Hit that like button.
We have a Instagram page, a Facebook page. Everything is Track Fellas with a Z. You can Google it. Go to YouTube, again, Instagram, Facebook, and make sure you press that subscribe button because that's the only way that we feel liked, right? But anyways, until next time, peace out.
Talk to you.
Peace.